Hello and welcome to the Reference Point Podcast. I am your host, Paolo, and today I am joined by my mutant co-hosts, Anthony and Louverine.
Ooh.
And today we're going to be talking about X-Men 97. So how do we want to start off?
That episode hurt the feels, Wes. So much.
We're getting
Spoilers
straight
ahead?
into it.
Yeah,
Straight into
spoilers ahead, but Gambit fucking dead.
Yeah. Well, spoilers for episode 5 because we're talking about episode 5.
Yeah.
Wow. Gambit annihilated. This guy is out of here. Ouch.
Honestly, I'm not big into X-Men. Like, I could appreciate the X-Men. I like the X-Men. But, I didn't really dive too much into the comics. Never seen the original series. But even I felt a little bad about Gambit dying. I just sat there. I was like, no way they're actually doing this. Not Gambit.
First things first, I got to get into this. I'm a low-key a little bit bothered about Magneto and Rogue. Wait, what kind of pairing is that?
But isn't that from the comics?
It 100% is. But just because something's from the comics doesn't mean I have to like it. And I don't like it.
Bro's never heard of a sugar daddy before.
Oh, buddy, that made me feel so uncomfortable. I was just sitting there the whole time, like, is he grooming her?
You know what?
Low-key.
The lead writer said on Twitter that she was 20 when they met or whatever, so it's not. But like, still seems a little to me. Just a little bit.
Bro's in his, 70s?
That's what I'm saying.
He's old
he
as
was in the
hell.
Holocaust. The saggy man movies, the skin coming off,
And Rogue, let's be real.
the liver spots.
Let's be real about Rogue, guys. She's pretty good looking, for a cartoon. She not bad. She's not bad. So, my point being, the fact that the whole episode, Gambit finally accepts that he's not gonna go with Rogue. He fumbled the body. Poor guy. Sucks for him. He finally accepts it until Rogue realizes, oh, Magneto, it's never gonna work out. Not because he's old. It just won't work out not because he's old. So,
But also
big
because
shock.
he's old.
But that definitely didn't help. Let's be real. I don't think it did.
What are you gonna do? Does anything work?
She doesn't like having 3 p.m. dinners. It's not on her. I don't blame her. But yeah, she accepts it, and then in the end, Gambit dies without even knowing this. So it's so tragic. Oh, it hit me so hard. And the last line of the episode is, "I can't feel you." Oh my god. Wow. We're getting choked up thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I think they're playing us, boys.
You
think
think
so?
so?
I think they're playing us.
And why do you think this?
Because they've done it before. They played us before. They played us before with the whole time traveling and going back and changing everything and coming in and either being Bishop, and now we saw it was Cable.
Mm-hmm.
Cable came back.
Nathan Summers, Cable.
Mommy.
He goes, "Mother."
But I think he's going to change that. I think he's going to possibly bring back Gambit. Well, I'm at least hoping. I'm hoping with my heart. Gambit and Magneto and everybody else that died within that whole thing. I also think, I don't know if you guys caught it, they put in the director of the X-Men in that giant flash. They were showing a bunch of mutants being Flash.
They put the lead writer I saw.
I thought I saw it. I'm like, is that him? Oh my god, that would be so clever it is, because he's in so much trouble right now.
Cole DeMaio, who was the lead writer on the show, he did a lot of Marvel projects, he did Moon Knight and off the top of my head, I don't remember, but he did a second project, I swear. But I know he did Moon Knight, and he was the lead head writer on this.
Yep.
Where before the show premiered, for those who don't know this, he got fired.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that on Twitter.
And people, they haven't given an exact reasoning as to why yet. We don't know if it's something bad. We don't know if they just said this guy's a horrible writer. We don't know.
Maybe he's just hard to work with.
Some people were saying that online. No, we don't have the full story yet, so we're not. We can
won't-
speculate all we want, but we're not gonna know what it is.
Yeah, we won't find out. We won't find out any details because I think he's in a counter-suing battle right now of legal. So he can't say anything. They can't say anything until they deal with whatever they're gonna deal with. Maybe out of court. Maybe in court. Who knows?
But
We'll
point
find
is,
out.
he died in the episode, so that was wow. given what we know.
I mean,
that's a bit weird.
All I'm gonna say is all the best shows, movies kill off their writers.
I do.
You know exactly what I'm referencing.
I know exactly, actually. But that being said, yeah, it was a big extinction going on Genosha, where they killed off some of the biggest X-Men characters, not just Gambit, but even people like Moira McTaggart. They were saying
Not Moira.
A lot of the Morlocks? Or?
Yeah, the Morlocks.
Oh, wait, they were all
Madeline
living
Pryor.
Yeah.
Came into the show, died instantly. Like, wow, okay.
But that's why I think that's why my theory is that they're gonna save. He went back to save his mom. That was his intention, and he showed up. Turn off the music, Mom. And then he's like, no, not enough time, and he flips back. But we've seen this before with him try to save his son, but also save the future. So maybe we'll be able to have more Madeline Pryor, with Scott Summers having an entanglement with the three, the love triangle of Jean Grey and Scott.
Imagine being in love with the same woman twice. So weird.
Yeah. Is it the same woman though?
Kind of, sort of, maybe not really. Like Jean Grey got mad at him for like talking with Madeline Pryor, but like she's exactly like you. Like she's a clone.
Talking, bro.
It was a mind entanglement. I know.
He was mind doing her.
It was their thing. And he did it with another woman.
Oh.
What a sicko that man. But my point being,
we don't accept Cyclops slander here.
it's true. Actually, we're not the Fox movies here.
Except for you, you could slander Cyclops.
Wolverine, you're allowed.
Oh yeah, I got with little action with Jean Grey.
Wolverine getting in there,
He finally got his shot after 6 seasons.
Poor guy. And it didn't even work.
Oh
So-
man, he's so good at heart. He's like, no, you guys are a thing. I hope he stays good at heart.
But going back to the Cable conversation, it's you don't put him at the beginning of the episode or whenever it was, and then just not use him in the season. So he's gonna come back. Something's gonna happen. The fact is, this whole episode just caught me so off guard. I don't know about you guys, because we went from like all the 80s, 90s nostalgia of just like, it's what a great time, this and that, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we're just gonna do 9/11 but for the mutants. It's like, what the hell, man? We went from, to best describe this in comic terms, we went from the Chris Claremont era to the Grant Morrison era, where it's just like, not the jump I thought we were going with this TV show. I thought it was just going to be a happy, fun 90s the show. We're just going to have a good time every episode, and that's it. No, we're reminding you that mutants, they're oppressed. They're going to have a bad time,
Yeah, they've done this. They've done this before. If you look back at the old series, they would split episodes, because now we still are going to get the second part of Storm.
Yeah,
Storm
Life
story.
Death.
So
Chris Claremont story.
That's going to be coming up next week, just finishing off that part. But they always hit us with like a little in-between story of what's going on in the present with a bigger concept story, right?
Would you call the story little? I wouldn't call it little.
No, you're right. But they gave us a little story with Jubilee, and they gave us a little story of like what happened to Storm because she ran away from the X-Men to discover herself.
That Jubilee episode, going back to that, that's exactly what I thought the whole show was going to be. Where it's just like, she gets stuck in a video game because of Mojo. Ooh.
Yeah,
like, it's not that bad. Like,
I had that expectation of it being very like serialized, like
just like a normal, like, nothing. I didn't expect to go out of the ordinary. Like, for example, the other Marvel Studios animated show, What If? It was very like a basic show, like very straightforward. It didn't really take huge leaps or jumps, so I didn't think this show would either.
And it had I know I complain about this before, but like an overarching narrative for What If just doesn't make sense to me. It's
not to start talking about What If, but I think the fact that What If has a main character does not work for me, especially if that main character is not the Watcher but Captain Carter. That doesn't work for me. But we're talking about X-Men, and X-Men 97 has blown me away because this was a show I had little expectations for, and just, wow, out of the water.
I think the X-Men 97 established people's faith in Marvel animation.
100%, because this show is, I found it learned a lot of, it learned from the mistakes of the Fox movies, in that, I'm going to be honest, no offense to you, Wolverine, but Wolverine is not in the show that much. Like, he's in a couple scenes here and there, but he's not the main focus. If this was a Fox movie, Wolverine was always number one. He was the best guy, this and that. This show has a strong focus on Cyclops, which I felt in all the movies has always been shafted. Yeah. He's always looked like low-key kind of a loser, He got cucked by Wolverine a couple of times. He sucks, Cyclops. But in reality, this guy's a badass in the comics. He's awesome. The freaking heat vision, concussion blast.
Yeah, concussion blast, not heat.
Yeah, I know, my bad. It wouldn't. The way they showcased that in the first episode, where he's just beating on dudes and then blasting, awesome stuff.
It's so cool. It's so cool. He's just like fucking. I love it.
It's awesome. Like, this show is really. I've been loving it. It's like one of the better X-Men projects I've watched. Honest to God.
I thought he was such a such a schoolboy,
He's a Boy Scout.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna follow the rules.
The
Back
professor
in the
said
day,
no.
It was always like, he's such a drag. He's such a drag. And in the first movie, they actually had. I feel like they had more faith in Cyclops, but then they saw how well Hugh Jackman did. They weren't expecting him because he was like, not as big as he is nowadays.
Yeah.
You say Hugh Jackman, they're like, oh yeah, I know who he is. This, that, the other thing.
Mr. X-Men himself.
Yeah. Mr. John X-Men himself, Hugh Jackman.
He represent like his face and Patrick Stewart represent instantly X-Men Association.
Yeah.
But they did like what's his name who played the Cyclops.
James Marsden.
Yes, in the first one they wanted him to be a thing, but then I think there was a thing with Bryan Singer, right?
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah, and there was a big thing where he was drugs on set and
Bryan Singer or James Marsden?
Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer. No, because he
Where are we going with this?
He was filming, and he got Hugh Jackman hurt, and he wanted to continue filming. And
This was for which movie though?
I think it was X-Men 2.
Probably.
But he was apparently high, and the studio went like, yeah, it's okay, he's gonna continue, and everyone's like, no, this is not a cool thing, man. Like, you shouldn't be high. You need help, and I think that's why they went a different direction for the Last Stand.
Mm-hmm. That and because he had to direct Superman Returns, because otherwise a lot of studios are pretty spineless for that. So they brought him back for Days of Future Past, and a lot of people don't want to like. I'm sorry, the dog caught me.
It's okay. We have a very special guest outside the ref room, a little taboo. Make sure to follow him on Instagram. He is adorable.
Yeah.
Last time we saw him, he was like a pup, and now he's big.
Yeah, great dog. Anyways, as I was saying, like for example, I remember watching an interview with Jennifer Lawrence where she was kind of just like, a lot of the stuff with Bryan Singer has been swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And that she complained about working with him and that like he's terrible. Like the guy was horrible on set, like keep himself like locked into stuff. And
But
terrible guy.
I feel it's like a double-edged sword because he comes off as a terrible person to many, but he's able to create such art we can all appreciate. Like the three of us come into this room and are able to no, you don't appreciate any of the.
I like the old X-Men movies as much as the other guys, but like was his direction really the strongest part of that movie? Not really. Look at they all wore black leather costumes. Now finally in Deadpool 3 we're gonna get the yellow costume I wanted for my whole life.
But was the black leather costume like because of the Ultimate Comics, or did the Ultimate Comics borrow from that?
First off, they don't wear black leather in Ultimates. They wear black costumes, but it's like they're still like familiar. And I think they came out after a movie because Ultimate was like around that time.
Okay.
So
also, just like as an aside, I fucking hate Ultimate Comics.
No.
Really?
It's too
This
much
guy's
weird, edgy shit. There's only
Except
like
Spider-Man. Except Spider-Man.
I was gonna say there's 2-3 things that are the only things that are good. It was Spider-Man, like both like Peter Parker, Miles Morales stuff, Black Nick Fury, and like okay, I don't remember. That was the one movie there, the one animated movie, the
Ultimate Avengers.
Yeah, that was the only good stuff that came
That's
out
true.
of that.
That was a really good
But
Marvel, but that came out a long time
First,
ago.
Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley will never be slandered on this show because that was such a good run, and it led to a great character in Miles Morales. So I'm never slandering that. That being said, Ultimate Avengers is kind of edgy and weird, and I don't really love it. So the animated movie was a bit better because it wasn't as edgy.
And then Ultimatum is just dog shit.
I don't even.
Sorry, taboo.
I don't even think that's an Ultimate comic. That's just a garbage comic. I think it was in the main universe.
It's for the Ultimate Universe. It's like it was the end of it, right?
No,
Ultimatum.
No,
because like literally half of them died. Like,
No,
they killed literally half.
it was
the
just a
Marvel
garbage
universe.
comic. I don't think it was Ultimate.
No, it was Ultimate because
The Ultimate ended at Secret Wars. It didn't end at Ultimatum. So my point being, Ultimatum garbage. We're moving past it.
X-Men. So yeah, the earlier episodes, I really liked it. It had that really nice serial feel of like a 90s television show. Felt like I was watching, like Magic School Bus or like the classic Saturday morning cartoon. And like I got a really big kick out of the Jubilee episode, even though it's like you would argue it's like a filler type episode within the context of like like 90s series. It was cool because they had little references here and there, and it made it feel like if you had actually hand drawn all this, you could have actually had
the
that
biggest
premiere in
mistake the
90s.
show has been making It's not releasing it on Saturday mornings, but instead on Wednesday mornings. You got to release it Saturday mornings. That was like a perfect recipe for success.
You're not
But they
wrong.
chose
I
Wednesdays.
wouldn't mind waking up on a Saturday and like feeling like a little kid again. I gotta wake up at 8 o'clock, guys. What for? For work? No, I'm gonna watch my cartoons.
I got to watch X-Men. I want to see who Cyclops up this week.
With your bowl of cereal and your pajamas, your X-Men. Well, actually, I'd just be wearing this.
You already look ready for a Saturday morning, you know?
You're completely right. That would have been great marketing. Just getting you all the nostalgia times 10.
But I don't know why they're like, Disney is like hyper focused on we got to do Wednesday releases for some reason.
I guess it's like market focusing or whatever. They just, because I don't think they would up a release like that. So like,
well, they release
found,
everything on Wednesdays.
Yeah, no, so I think they found like the perfect time frame or something.
Yeah.
I feel them doing the slow drip too, the weekly thing.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, I love it.
So much better. I missed it. Like I found binging stuff was getting over because you go through it and you're like waiting 2-3 years for the next season of something.
Yeah.
But with the slow drip, this last episode wouldn't have hit as hard for people.
But also with like the binge, I realized it got so hard because like, you know, sadly when you start working a job in real life, like I can't do 8 hours in a row watching a show anymore. Like it's not easy. I don't have time for that.
It really isn't.
Now I turn on the 30-minute shows. I have a great time and I have something to look forward to in the next week.
So X-Men.
Yeah, saying earlier that in the future, one of the futures, Bishop landed with his sister, and Magneto had a huge beard. They show Ben Reilly's Spider-Man off in the background, and being destroyed by a whole bunch of other mutants by Sentinels, because Sentinels are now destroying all people, all beings. So they have to save that future, and that was a future where they didn't even have the X-Men exist. Yeah. And they had to go back and save Professor Xavier from being killed by a Sentinel, like a Sentinel that looked like a Rubik. What is it? Rubik's cubes?
Yeah, Rubik's.
Yeah.
he was just a giant block that.
Is it the Super Sentinel or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. It was so silly, but it's such a good episode. I love the time traveling series. I just want to see more of that in this new series that's coming out. Hopefully we do with Cable.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get it with Cable. Like they put the fact that they even show him being born in the show is like, to me, it's like they're clearly setting up an arc from start to finish of Cable, and I personally can't wait to see it because we've only had him in one movie and it was Deadpool 2, and that movie is so good, and he was great in it. And Cable's like he's such a great character, man. Like a guy from the future who knows how it's all gonna play out. Who goes back in time.
Techno virus.
Yeah, the techno virus. What a
so
cool concept!
Name.
Like it's awesome. And you know, my question for you guys is, who's behind this attack? Who's behind this mutant 9/11? Who do you guys think it is?
Trask.
I think it would be just the Sentinels itself. Like
but who sent the Sentinels? Somebody had to.
I think it was Sinister.
Mr. Sinister. It's a good guess.
Yeah, I think he's manipulating just to push forward because it's either him or it's going to be Apocalypse. But they did in the old series. They did kind of leave Apocalypse off on a cliffhanger and never really continue that. He is alive now within somebody else's body. He came back, but because he was lost within time, and then he somehow was able to communicate with somebody, and then he took over their body.
My good friend Nick, shout out to Nick, done a couple episodes of a show with him. He said that it's probably going to be Bastion from the comics, and I get the feeling that Nick is right.
Why Bastion?
He had a whole explanation that I have written down somewhere that I cannot remember at the moment, but take my word for it, Nick is always right. Except when it comes to wrestling opinions.
Oh yeah, that's true. His wrestling opinions are awful.
Yep, 100%.
See, this is why Cody Rhodes is our GOAT.
And he finished the story.
But why wouldn't it be Trask? Didn't he like invent the Sentinels? Like,
I think the fact that they showed him in the show it's a red herring that they want you to think it's Boulevard Trask because it's the obvious, simple answer. But Bastion has been teased. They showed him with Forge in that picture of the X Factor team, and they're slow. Like, I get the feeling that the answer is not as obvious as they want it to be. So when Nick told me that, I'm like, no, I think he nailed it.
Okay.
Maybe maybe he's completely wrong, and I'm gonna look very foolish for putting my trust in him. But I'm willing to look foolish.
It's just a theory.
Yeah, it's a theory.
An X-Men theory. But What if they did like something like, you know how in the 90s shows you'd always have like the evil version of a character from a different future? What if it's something like that, like evil Professor
Wolverine.
X or evil Cyclops?
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Then you have evil Cyclops and Mary.
and Madeline Pryor.
Yeah,
Or
Madeline,
they
yeah,
could
sorry.
finally introduce Professor X's twin sister.
Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
Aren't they doing that already?
Yes,
They're doing it in Deadpool 3. She's
yeah,
gonna be
they're-
the villain.
That's what the rumors are, and like we've kind of like gotten footage and
You
to
see her
confirm
bald
it.
head
Yeah.
in the trailer. Emma Corrin's apparently playing her.
Yeah,
So
they have people playing her. So, but they could also be throwing us off by like that's a 3-minute character, right?
Yeah, or maybe
Yeah.
it's not her, but instead our missing co-host Gravis, because they are bald.
that's true. It could be him. I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say it. But yeah, a lot of people were saying maybe it's her, but I get the feeling to double dip on her and like to do Deadpool and X-Men 97. I don't see them doing that.
No, that does make sense. Maybe they want to make her like a new character to establish.
It could work, but also Nick said no, so I'm trusting in Nick.
I don't know. I don't. Sometimes you gotta also remember this is Disney, and they have no shame. So maybe they would use the new characters constantly, like throughout a string.
They're
of
not
different
using
projects.
Wolverine in this show. They're barely using him. So
Yeah, because they're saving him for Deadpool.
I think
and
that-
that's exactly my point. Cassandra
crap.
Nova. See that switch around?
Damn.
Boom.
if you guys have you seen the TV guide that they made for like they made this old X-Men TV guide. It was-
Oh yes, I've seen that in
On
the VHS
Disney.
tapes too. They did.
but
On their Insta, I think.
and they show all the episodes per name that's coming
Okay.
out. There's one called Bright Eyes that's coming out. I'm sure that's gonna be Wolverine and Cyclops focus. Just like going up, maybe like the whole kiss thing going on. They,
Wolverine
like,
and Cyclops kiss.
no,
That's gonna be
I mean
cool.
Jean Grey and,
I know.
and
I'm just.
oh man, that would be even better. Like get that love triangle going. No, we got a square. No, we got the clone, Jean, Scott, and Wolverine.
The love square. I love it.
You know what they say? Sharing is caring.
Do you have any other thoughts
Closing
about?
thoughts?
I was gonna say thoughts about like where this series is gonna go before we have our closing thoughts.
They're doing E for Extinction, so that's pretty great. I get the feeling eventually they're all gonna come back, these X-Men. But man, this is why weekly works, because I gotta wait to find out, and not because I would have known, and then I would have came here and been like, yeah, never mind, they're back, guys, it's fine. You know what I mean? As much as I want to watch the next episode right away, the wait makes it all the better. Unless
Yeah.
the episodes are terrible, then it makes me even more upset. But that's a different story. I don't think we're going there. So
What about you?
I think Mr. Sinister is gonna be like a overall, like he's gonna be lurking in the background now that we got like the Sentinels still like causing a ruckus. That I don't think that they're gonna be the main focus, because that's all gonna be changed by our cable theory that I spoke of earlier. But I think Mr. Sinister is working in the background planning something, because why did they just introduce this clone at the beginning of the series? Like it's a bit, for me that's a huge thing. They could have done it originally in the old series when they did the Phoenix Saga, but now they're tying that old, and I like it. I'm in really digging it. Like I'm along for the ride, guys. Wherever you take me, as long as it's good, and maybe bring back the old writer. I'm fine.
I've always loved Mr. Sinister as a villain. He's so great. Hopefully he infects less babies with the technovirus. But overall great character.
What about you?
Genuinely, I have no idea what to expect, because X-Men not my thing. If I had to just throw a guess out there, I feel as though it's probably gonna somehow tie into future Marvel projects. Like they're gonna do something where it's like they're gonna cross through a portal, and then you're gonna have like
They're gonna need
X-Men.
live.
No, like literally, they're gonna
need
be live action.
Robert Downey Jr.
No, like I have a feeling they're gonna do something like that, or set it up for like a potential Secret Wars project where they're there. And either way, I just think that tie-in. The series is gonna end with a tie-in where they're gonna bring the mutants to the MCU.
Well, they're already but they're already teasing that Captain America's in the show.
Yeah,
Because
but
they
he
showed him in
showed
the
up in the
trailer.
original though.
But
I
I'm like,
saw that
that's-
screenshot on Twitter.
No, so it's like
so
that's
did
pretty
Black
cool.
Panther.
And
They had so many.
Spider-Man.
They had
Yeah.
so many guest stars in the original 90s shows.
I've heard a rumor
Okay.
that they may bring back another show that Saban did from the 90s.
Okay, so it has
I'm
to be
hoping.
Spider-Man.
No, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It's Spider-Man because that.
It would 100% be that.
That
They're
left
not bringing
me-
back the Silver Surfer show. That thing was like 8 episodes. Come
No,
on. It would be Spider-Man.
What about Fantastic?
Yeah,
Four, man?
Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
Even that wasn't a success. It wasn't that
But
highly.
it's kind of alignment with what they're planning with the live action and what you
Spider-Man
said.
ended on a cliffhanger, guys. Never forget that.
I know. I want it to be
It's
done.
the perfect thing.
What do you mean it didn't end on a cliffhanger? There was then the follow-up, Spider-Man Unlimited.
But, oh, shut
that
up.
wasn't even a.
Shut
That wasn't
up.
a real follow-up.
That
show
wasn't even Spider-Man.
That shit sucked too. Did you guys see the new What If they just announced this week? It's What If Donald Duck was Wolverine.
Oh yeah, I saw. That's hilarious.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I kind of saw that. I thought it was a joke. Then I realized, oh no, it's a thing.
I mean, they're doing what if aliens, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what if? Okay, I'm gonna go on a mini rant here, but like, what if has done irreparable damage to, like, discussion of nerd shit. Now everything has to have a what if thing, where it's like, no, guys,
that's why
the
What
whole
If
point of what if is that it ends even shittier than what we actually got. Like, you know, everyone's like, oh, we want to do what if Star Wars, where, you know, Anakin, like, you know, gets to have his kids, but it's like, no, if they did proper what if, it's gonna end even worse.
But then, does that mean What If Donald Duck is gonna end horrible? Like, as Wolverine, he's gonna accidentally kill Mickey or something? Like, what's up with that?
Maybe, you never know, but like, still.
Well, now
it's-
I'm interested and I'm buying that day one.
But like, I just hate this idea where everything has to get a what if. Like, why is Aliens of all things getting a what if series?
I haven't read it, so I can't judge it. Maybe it ends and it's like
Why
it
do you have
is
to be such a
worse.
hater? Did you drink your haterade this morning? or
I
you
did.
just-
I have
He's
helping right here.
he's overdosing on his haterade.
Just
I
trust
think
me.
what we're talking about today, though, what we came to get here together to talk about, kind of breaks that trend.
I knew I shouldn't have brought Donald Duck up.
They're bringing back, instead of rebooting it and restarting it, they're continuing something that was really popular and really good, and they're enhancing it in many ways.
I'd argue almost make it better.
Yeah,
You know,
from the
I haven't watched the original show, so maybe it is.
That could be an inflammatory comment.
It could be.
If
The
you-
show
if-
could end and it could suck for all I know.
If you
I
watch
doubt
the
it, but
original series, it's kind of hard sometimes how the syncing of the lips and we're now
it's cheesy. It's cheesy,
It's
guys.
instant.
Mhm.
It's almost like a live person talking. They don't move, and then you still hear the audio.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of like passively watch that now. It's like, oh yeah, that's on, because the animation kind of gets to me. It's like, but it's so good of a story, and it's so
Yeah.
cool to see that how they interpreted the comics into the actual series.
We just love the X-Men. We just love the X-Men.
Well, you guys love the X-Men.
I like the X-Men. They're great.
X-Men were the first who did the multiverse. Okay, they were the first that touched on it,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's just a fad for everyone to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought the Jetsons did it first, but that's okay.
It's true, they did with the crossover with the Flintstones. And that's the show.
And that's an exciting end to our episode.
Exciting end.
Exactly.
So thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe on OER TV. Follow us on Instagram at RefPointPodcast. Wolverine, would you like to endorse anything?
Watch more X-Men.
Perfect.
Watch X-Men 97. And guys, do not forget to support your local comic book stores.
Thanks for watching.